Turning to a wrap of your top stories of the day. Happening today, loved ones will remember a toddler who died at a daycare center in Lenoir. The 16-month-old went into cardiac arrest last week at Creative Beginnings Daycare. That funeral will be held at 2 this afternoon at Waterlife Church. A daycare employee is facing charges in the incident.
Good Tuesday morning today. Tijuana Brown, an indicted on federal charge member of Charlotte City Council, says she will attend tonight's meeting, and she also says she plans to seek re-election. This after being indicted for what the government says of fraudulently obtaining more than $124,000 in loans, in COVID relief fund loans. Brown, for her part, says she only received a $20,000 loan, which she repaid in full. The council meeting is set for tonight. We'll be there and tell you what happens.
And taking you out on the roads now, live like outside from a rainy Lake Norman. The better news is that I-77 in Mooresville is flowing smoothly on both those north and southbound lanes. Can't say the same across the area. We've got lots of active accidents across the metro, so definitely allow yourself plenty of extra time as you head out the door this morning. Probably biggest slowdown this morning is going to be this crash, Steel Creek Road northbound at Cecilia Lane. Chris?
And here it is. 1 to 2 inches of rain could fall over the next day or two, mainly today. Today's a near washout. Most hours looking at rain. Slight chance that we break up that rain later this afternoon, heading into the evening. And then better. Back to 78 degrees with some on and off rain chances. Much better by the weekend, though.
All right. Thanks so much, Chris. And a reminder that the news does not end here. We're live all day with breaking news, weather, and traffic.
We're streaming now on WCNC Plus, and we'll see you at 7 a.m.
Thanks for joining us on WCNC Plus. We're streaming live at 7 a.m. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Caitlin Hagwood in for Ben. And as we take a live look at Uptown this morning, we have shown you this camera many times, but it isn't often that it looks like this. It's so foggy and rainy out there that it is difficult to even see what's happening. It's a rainy start to the work week, not only in Charlotte, but for a lot of different areas that we cover. So let's send things right over to Chris Mulcahy, who's been tracking this for us. Chris, what can you tell us?
Well, you're looking at just those low-level clouds. So literally we have our head in the clouds over here in Dallas as well. This is technically a nimbostratus cloud, so rain-bearing lower cloud that we're dealing with anywhere from a light to a moderate rain shower. Even the darker greens, that's still some decently heavy rain that's not great to walk in, certainly not great to drive in, and Becca will have more on that. And a lot of these yellows starting to pop off as well. So we've seen a big uptick in the rain right here around Kings Mountain and I-85. Same thing's happening around Gastonia. And then it's the eastern side of Gaston County, such as Mount Holly, Belmont. You're going to see probably your heaviest rain that you've seen so far this morning over the next 30 minutes. In Charlotte, it's going to be a little bit longer, about 45 minutes until you have your heaviest downpour, and we'll see those heavy spikes on and off going forward. Meanwhile, over here in Lylesville, this looks great, right? Just an overcast day, kind of like what we had yesterday. Some very light rain starting to fall there, but you're not dealing with the widespread stuff that will allow for those visibilities to really drop on us, or the heavier rain. So what I'm suggesting for you, have the umbrella, rain jacket, and boots. You might need the rain trifecta for today, but the heavier rain jacket, because temperatures right now in the mid to the upper 50s. I don't want you to head out the door saying, oh man, it'll warm up later. It won't. No, the temperature that it's at right now, that's the day, people. The sunshine, not happening. So we're talking about all day rain, or nearly all day, all morning rain, with temperatures in the upper 50s. And that's 61. That already happened. That was our temperature at midnight. So literally, we're done warming up. At most, we're going to maybe see a 1 or 2 degree difference from where we're at right now, closer to 60. But March 6th, that's what we typically have for an average high on March 6th. It's almost June, so this really puts in perspective, so it's kind of a shock and awe. Not a great day whatsoever. It's more of a napping day than, oh, I have to head back to work after a long weekend. So I'm sorry that this is our Tuesday, but by the afternoon, we are starting to see some breaks in the action. It's not technically going to be a washout. Washout's really just sunrise to sunset or all hours of the day, but hey, close enough, because once you get to about the middle of the afternoon, we are starting to see some breaks in the backside. That's where some drier air will start to work in, but this is a classic cold air damming setup. You have that flow out of the northeast, moisture that's coming in from the southwest. Those two intertwine. That's just keeping constant rain. Those low clouds, that rain cooled air backs against the mountains and doesn't go anywhere, and that keeps temperatures quite steady. By the way, we should be in the lower 80s this time of year, so this is about a 20 to 22 degree drop across the region. Yikes. Check out our futurecast. I was telling you it was going to rain all morning. No, it's going to rain all morning. Even if you hit some of those bald spots, it's still going to be either drizzle or some fog or some mist, and you will start to see just an overcast sky by the end of the day, but we still have rain overhead, I-85, I-77, the cross section of Charlotte, through the rest of this morning. It's not until about 2 to 4 that I'm really seeing a big break. I think the best scenario is by the early to mid-afternoon, we erode a lot of this jazz, and then off towards the northwest, I think the mountains, you could be starting to dry out really a few hours from now by the end of the morning. And then this really starts to thin out by the end of the afternoon, heading into the evening. So if you typically go on an evening walk, the roads are going to be soaked, but there might be a chance that you're going to start to dissipate some of that rain. However, then we have a chance for fog and mist and drizzle beyond that before another round of rain starts to roll back in. So I think it is going to be another soggy start to tomorrow morning, not as widespread of a rain. And then we have scattered rain on Thursday, and then rain is likely on Friday. But today, by far, does not match the other temperatures. I'll have the warm up that eventually comes, and when you can see the sunshine again for our Guy Roofing 7-day forecast in just a little bit. But first, we have to check your morning commute with Becca Birdsall. Good morning to you, my friend.
Good morning, Chris. It is busy out there as we take a live look outside from Uptown. This is I-77 at the Brookshire Boulevard, and traffic is only continuing to get packed as we continue into rush hour traffic. Want to let you know that we do still have wet roads out there from the Bowens all the way into the metro, but in that blue color, that's indicating some ponding out in the roadways delays in portions of York County close to Rock Hill, also towards Salisbury and portions of Alexander County as well. So allow yourself plenty of extra time as you head out the door this morning. Here are the active crashes that we have just across the Charlotte area. Likely the one that will cause you the biggest trouble is going to be this one. Northbound Steel Creek Road before Brown Greer Road. This has reports of a pedestrian accident with this, and you can see that right lane is currently blocked. Also with some emergency vehicles on the scene, and it is very slow moving. Again, really only impacting those northbound lanes. Also, new crash on the board. This is on Lynch Street at Hoover Street, really not causing any huge delays there. Right now, drive times Matthews to Charlotte will take you about 23 minutes. Salisbury up to 49, Waxhaw 39, and Belmont 24 minutes.
7:05 now. Happening today, Charlotte City Council member Tijuana Brown will attend her first council meeting since pleading not guilty to federal charges. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane is live for us this morning. Now, Richard, we know that she also has a town hall, and that is set for tomorrow night.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, Lisa. Good morning to you. Good morning, Caitlin. Good morning, Tuesday. Good Tuesday morning to all our plussers. I spoke to Tijuana Brown last Thursday about these indictments before they came down, and she actually told me that she has no intentions of not running or maintaining her office on the Charlotte City Council. Now, we can tell you that that meeting today is what she says she will attend tonight's council meeting. This just a few days after being indicted on federal charges. Those charges stem from allegations that Brown and her daughters fraudulently obtained over $124,000 in COVID relief funds. The feds say she spent part of the money on an extravagant birthday party. While for her part, Brown claims she only received one loan of $20,833, which she said she repaid in full. Despite the indictment, she has made it clear that she does not intend to resign and will continue her campaign for re-election. Her decision to attend the meeting underscores her defiance and determination to maintain her role in the council, and that she says she is innocent of those federal charges.
No one had to tell me to pay it back. When I found out that there may have been some stipulations and how the application was processed, I paid it back. I am the city council member that was elected for the people, by the people.
She's presumed innocent, and we've got a defense that you'll hear plenty about as we go.
And that last person was her attorney speaking on Friday. Of course, that council meeting takes place tonight, and that town hall is tomorrow. We'll tell you what happens in both of those situations. Guys, back to you.
Well, Richard, you mentioned she's not stepping down, but could she be forced out if convicted?
Yeah, and there's North Carolina statutes. Anyone who's convicted of a felony is no longer eligible to hold that seat. Some folks might be wondering, well, what happened to our former mayor, Patrick Cannon? If a person serves their time, after they've served their time, they can reapply for their citizen rights. And if that happens, then they can run again. But the quick answer is that if she's convicted of a felony, she would not be able to serve on Charlotte City Council.
All right, Richard Devane reporting for us. Thank you so much. Also happening at tonight's council meeting, the council will welcome its newest member, Edwin Peacock, set to be formally sworn in during that meeting. He was appointed to fill in the District 6 seat left vacant by Tarek Bakari, and he will remain in that seat until the November election. Meantime, today's meeting comes as the Charlotte Fraternal Order of Police continues its vote of no confidence for the chief.
WCNC Charlotte's Miles Harris dives into what this all means for the department.
The last few weeks have been chaotic for Chief Johnny Jennings. Questions have been brewing since news came earlier this month that the city settled with Chief Jennings for more than $300,000. The settlement comes after former city council member Tarek Bakari allegedly threatened Jennings' career over the chief's refusal to allow officers to wear outer carrier protective vests, and the move drawing concerns from the Charlotte Fraternal Order of Police. And the Charlotte-Mecklenburg police chief will soon learn more on the FOP's confidence in his role, as nearly 2,000 members from the private organization can start the official voting process for a no-confidence vote against CMPD Chief Jennings.
He knows that his officers are a part of that FOP.
Online voting began early Monday morning, and for current FOP members, in-person voting starts on May 27th. But what does this vote mean? The Charlotte Police Organization can hold a vote, but they can't make the hiring decisions for the city of Charlotte. The outcome will likely only be symbolic. Michael Graff, the man who first spoke with Jennings about his retirement, joined the WCNC Impact stream to discuss where Chief Jennings stands with the FOP and former Councilman Bakari.
He never said a bad word about the FOP. He never spoke former City Councilman Tariq Bakari's name. He never mentioned his name. He only called him a former councilman or something like that in my interview. So no, he didn't take any shots at anybody else in the interview.
And members of the FOP, they have until June 3rd to cast their vote. In East Charlotte, I'm Miles Harris, WCNC Charlotte.
Today marks 8 months since Hurricane Helene hit North Carolina. Despite ongoing efforts to rebuild, some business owners are choosing not to return to the mountains this summer. Chimney Rock lost about a third of its businesses after the storm. While some neighbors are committed to rebuilding, others have chosen not to return. And even though the town wasn't able to reopen by its Memorial Day deadline, there are high hopes for a summer comeback. A new policy is giving South Carolina families some peace of mind this morning. A new law expands access to free and reduced lunch, requiring schools to participate in a federal free lunch program if they opt in. They can only opt out if they can prove it would cause financial hardship. It also bans meal shaming in the state, which is when students are penalized for their meal debt. Advocates say the measure is overdue.
What we also don't want is for children to be punished effectively for not being able to pay for their meals by either not receiving a meal, receiving a different meal, not being able to participate in programs such as field trips, and even to a further extent of perhaps even preventing them from walking at graduation.
The policy was previously part of a temporary budget, but now it will be permanent state law. It takes effect next year.
Cleanup continues this morning as severe weather keeps coming. If you take a look at this huge tornado caught on camera in New Mexico Sunday, thankfully, there are no reports of major damages or injuries. And more severe weather in Texas as we look now at the size of this hail that came down on Sunday, too. That storm brought golf ball size hail that covered yards near Lubbock. This storm also brought high winds, but again, thankfully, no reports of any injuries.
This morning, we are hearing the 911 calls from the deadly tornado that hit Kentucky last week.
The London Laurel 911 Center received over 600 calls for help as a tornado barreled through the area. Megan Mannering has the details for us this morning.
Our roof is gone. The walls are gone. Half of our house is gone.
Composure gone as Laurel County tornado victims frantically dialed 911.
911. We've been hit by a tornado. Our house has been hit.
Chilling audio details the moment roofs were blown off, exposing vulnerable people.
They're all trapped across the road from me. They're all trapped. I can hear screaming. 911. Ma'am, Line Road, London, Kentucky. We just got hit by a tornado. I'm in a two-story house. I'm trapped under the I'm trapped. I can't get out of my house. You're trapped?
London Laurel 911 took more than 600 calls like this.
Please help me. Please, ma'am, are you sending help? Okay. Yes, I am sending help to you.
I'm trying to heal. Both my legs are completely broken. My wife's hurting, and we're in the basement.
Okay, I've got people on the way to you.
Throughout the night, St. Joe Hospital took in patients. In the end, they would treat more than 100 people for tornado-related injuries.
I need an ambulance at the entrance to Sunshine Hills at 363 for a toddler and her mother that were in the tornado.
Meanwhile, first responders on the ground continued search and rescue efforts well into the morning.
Vehicle struck by the tornado on I-75, flipped, entrapment.
Callers crying to dispatchers, unable to locate their loved ones.
Yes, please. My wife, I was on the phone with her, and I don't know what happened.
So So sad just hearing all those calls. And I can imagine for those responders, so many calls. It's overwhelming.
Yeah, and it's been a real bad severe weather season, especially over the last couple of weeks.
Yes.
And before it was kind of more of a flooding scenario. We had that atmospheric blocking that Becca did a great weather IQ on. But we've also been seeing a lot of staggering images, such as this one. So check this one out. Just wow. Just seeing that tornado of that magnitude. So this is turning into what would be a wedge tornado, and those are usually the strongest ones. This is just a perfect cone as you see off into the distance. And by the way, a tornado is literally just rotating winds, and that's why they'll have different colors. So this is a really good example that we're seeing here. As you first see the condensation, it's usually sucked down from the cloud, but then other times it literally is just the dust. So sometimes you can have red tornadoes if it's more of a red clay. You can have a black tornado depending on how much moisture is in the atmosphere or darkness. But then oftentimes whenever there is a tornado, it's usually brought to by a supercell, especially in that part of the country, just dumping hail. And the biggest hailstone that I saw recently is that was very safe. I noticed as you crept out trying to get that golf ball sized one. We actually were seeing one hailstone that was about 6 inches in diameter.
6 inches?
So somebody from Oklahoma University held up the hailstone and put their OU hat next to it.
Oh my gosh.
And it was about the same size.
Wow.
And the record-breaking hailstone is about 8 inches in diameter. It's about the size of a volleyball. So once you're getting up to that point, and this is usually hail season, this is where you can have some of the larger hail cores. But this is some of the more impressive hail that I've really seen in my career in recent years. It was back in actually 2010 that we had that record-breaking hailstone. So it's been a while since we've been seeing really those larger hail cores. But we've been cool enough for it, because when you're too hot, a lot of the hail will melt before it hits the surface. And May, by the way, is the most active month for hail in the Carolinas. Not calling for any hail in the near term, mainly just a rain event. For your Tuesday, you can see the nearest bullseyes right here in Mississippi, Alabama, and the western side of Georgia. Atlanta is included under a low threat there. And our severe weather threat comes closest really for your Wednesday heading into your Thursday, a little bit closer to home. That's where we're going to start to see this shading change for us. And it's just really our upstate of South Carolina that's going to have a possibility for that over the coming days. And let me try to manually advance this. There it is. Seeing a low chance for storms really in South Carolina by tomorrow. And that's heading into your Thursday morning as well before it starts to subside down towards the south. So again, this is just a rain event here, but we're close. If we were getting a much warmer temperature, because it's really tough to have a severe storm when you have temperatures in the upper 50s. This is not the right environment, but we do have the right environment for a lot of moisture that's being fed in here, high relative humidity, where we have a completely saturated environment that is maximizing some of our rain rates. So we're going to see on and off light to moderate rain through the course of this morning. I think an inch is possible for the morning hours alone. Once you get to about noon to 2 o'clock, we're starting to erode some of that rain. It's the middle of the afternoon. I think we start to see a lot more breaks, and then we'll just have pulses and rounds of rain that start to return. So I'm not saying that it's going to rain all day, but there's a good chance it's raining for most of the day, where our best chance is really mid to late afternoon to break up the rain into the early evening for more light to moderate rain showers start to push on through. So this could create another wet start to your morning commute for your Wednesday, seeing some pockets of some heavier rain. The big deal here is that we have some drier air that starts to insert itself. This will also lead to some fog, not great conditions, a cloudy morning for your Wednesday, for the sunshine eventually will return. There's a slight chance that we could have a regenerating shower or even a thunderstorm during your Wednesday afternoon, but I think it's primarily down towards the south that we can have this activity. And look at Thursday morning, even seeing a few showers and storms popping up around Lancaster with some heavier rain rates before another band of showers will return, I would say late Thursday, heading into Friday, that we're anticipating this rain. So even though we're ending the rain for tomorrow, I think we have more widespread rain that's going to be a possibility heading into Thursday and Friday as well. So a really wet period going forward. By the weekend, we'll have temperatures that'll start to warm up, and we'll also have upwards to about 1.5 inches to 3 inches of rain for our totals across those 3 to 4 days. So our Guy Roofing 7-day forecast, this is the one day that separates itself for the widespread rain and the temperature. 61, we already hit it around midnight. We're back to 80 degrees on Thursday, but I love the weekend. As of right now, trending dry for Saturday, lower to the mid 80s Saturday, Sunday, and a great warm warm start to the month of June, Sunday and Monday. Becca, it has been a wild ride so far this morning. What's traffic doing?
More wild things as we take a live look outside over towards York County. This is I-77 northbound. Once again, we have another interstate crash, and this is at Gold Hill Road. You can see those flashing lights. That is currently one lane of traffic is blocked off, and this is how you get from York County inbound into Mecklenburg County. So this is a very busy stretch of roadway. You see traffic is moving very slowly because of it. Outside over towards North Charlotte, a lot less traffic out there. This is I-77 at W.T. Harris Boulevard, but you can see that shine and those wet streets out there. Do want to let you know of this update on this earlier crash. Northbound Steel Creek Road before Brown Greer Road, that has cleared. Don't have to worry about that. But now we're monitoring this new crash over towards the Wynwood area, outbound Monroe Road before Conference Drive, and you can see it is blocking all lanes of traffic on the outbound lanes, and a bunch of emergency vehicles in and around that area. You'll want to avoid that road. Road conditions across the region, you can see lots of active crashes across Mecklenburg County, including this one. This is impacting Albemarle Road at I-45. Drive safe.
After a busy holiday weekend for Charlotte Douglas, the airport is now looking ahead to a busy summer. American Airlines estimates it will operate around 72,000 flights out of Charlotte Douglas through September 2nd. New research this morning shows the airport is now the third busiest connection hub in the country, with more than 75% of flyers taking connecting flights.
People around the country spent the day Monday honoring the lives of soldiers who died while serving our country. A special ceremony was held at the Gethsemane Cemetery in Memorial Gardens. The CMPD Honor Guard gave a special presentation, and a woman who survived World War II shared her experience with the war. It comes as female veterans also took part in an all-female honor flight to Washington, D.C. for Memorial Day.
Grace Blair talked with the women about their experiences while serving our country.
We have been invisible to each other. We've passed each other on the street, maybe seen each other in a restaurant or a department store, and didn't really know our full story. And it's time to give our story out and be proud of it.
That's what UP Woman of Valor is all about. Coming together.
I'm on it with all my service sisters just to come to Washington, D.C. to be proud of the time I served.
Sharing experiences.
I'm meeting a lot of powerful, strong women. And we all have different backgrounds and different stories, different military experiences.
Finally feeling seen.
It feels good to be seen and noticed. Like, we get looked over a lot.
When several of these women served, as a country, we didn't always know how to honor women veterans. Susan Holliday first joined the Woman Army Corps, then the Army Nurses Corps. She served our country for 22 years. Holliday recalls a time when she was in a group, mostly of men, shortly after she was promoted to major. A time when women were not seen as equal.
The old majors who were instructing us said, well, we have to just give people, men, time to deal with women. And I kind of like raised my hand really quick with a kind of a smart answer and said, well, don't they have wives and mothers and daughters and sisters? And those necks just snapped at me like they'd never thought. Why do we have to give men time to get used to us being in leadership positions or being in the military or being in every specialty that's being offered to women?
But we're learning and taking steps forward. An example of that came at the Military Women's Memorial. Every veteran's name and service was announced.
Captain Lee Ann Peterson, U.S. Air Force 89 to 2011.
Their service was entered into the memorial archive, forever documenting their stories for future generations to see.
I know that we sacrificed a lot of family time for service, but I don't regret any minute of it. And I love them, and I love you all.
The women on the honor flight tell me they're surprised at just how many female veterans there are here in the UP. And now when they see each other, they'll know who they are.
They're not invisible to me. When I see their faces now around Marquette, I can say, hey, honor flight 26.
because to be seen is to be loved.
That was Grace Blair reporting.
A beautiful story. There are so many sacrifices made by those women.
Absolutely, and so good to see them all coming together to, retell their stories and just have that camaraderie of being together.
So we're going to take a quick break here, but keep it with us on WCNC Plus. At 7:26, we'll have another check of your weather and traffic and have more of those headlines right here at 7:30.
It is cold and damp out there. We have a rain in the 50s. That's not a great feeling, and it is heavy at times. So our hourly forecast, we're ranging anywhere from about 56 to 58 degrees right now through the rest of today, and on and off rain will be a possibility for the entirety of this morning. We start to dry out a little bit in the mountains heading into the afternoon, but then it's really not until about the middle of the afternoon that we really start to see a significant break behind this, still keeping that rain around for the overnight, heading into tomorrow as well. For the foreseeable future, you can expect that those temperatures are going to be back to about 80 degrees on Thursday, lower to the mid 80s this weekend. Becky, you have an active morning commute. What's going on so far?
That's right. I was keeping up to date with this crash on I-77 northbound at Gold Hill Road. It does appear that it has moved to the shoulder, but you can see how jam-packed those northbound lanes are as you approach Mecklenburg County. Allow yourself plenty of extra time if that is your normal route. Also looking at this major incident happening in southeast Charlotte. This is on outbound Monroe Road before Conference Drive, and all outbound lanes of Monroe Road are completely blocked and lots of emergency vehicles currently on the scene. You'll want to avoid the area. Right now, have about 11 active crashes across the metro and lots of congestion, especially if you're coming from 85 Gastonia to uptown Charlotte.
Thanks for joining us on WCNC Plus at 7:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Kaylin Hagwood in for Ben. We do begin this half hour with some news out of Gaston County as leaders could finalize a $424 million budget tonight. That impacts everything from school funding to public safety.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live this morning. And Destiny, there is some good news in this for homeowners.
That's right. In the county's proposed budget, the property tax is going to be staying the same. So great news for homeowners there. And this is as county leaders continue to work to manage rising costs. Now, this budget, the Gaston County proposed budget, is $424 million. And again, the property tax rate is staying at 59.9 cents per $100 of assessed value. There's also good news for schools. If the budget passes, Gaston County schools would get an extra $500,000 to boost teacher salary supplements. Gaston College would receive an additional $250,000 in funding as well. Gaston County Manager Matt Roten says balancing the budget was not easy as the county is facing nearly $31 million in new expenses. Much of that comes from school bond debt and inflation. Departments were also asked to cut operating costs by more than 6% and delay capital projects to make it work. Now, with all of those cuts, there's also in this proposal 10 new county positions. It also maintains key employee benefits, and it also works to preserve support for public safety as well as the Family Justice Center, the library system, and the Gaston County Museum. So lots of great investments there. If you would like to weigh in on the budget before tonight's final vote, there is at 6 p.m. a public hearing before the Gaston County Commissioners. Then they will vote on next year's fiscal year budget, which goes into effect on July 1st. I'll send it back to you guys live here from Gaston County.
Now, Destiny, you told us about that new money for schools. What is the county doing about the aging school buildings?
Yeah, so the aging buildings is something that that Gaston County is concerned about. Again, they do have all of that debt that they are working on. And they said that the proposed budget includes over $16 million in new debt payments. This is tied to a final round of voter-approved $250 billion in school bonds. The bond money is earmarked for renovations. This is not any new school construction or capital projects. Again, those were cuts that had to be made. And then county leaders estimate that there are some long-term facility needs as well, but that would be over $600 million for that. So that's what we have from Gaston County.
All right, Destiny.
Thank you so much, Destiny. Sending things over to Chris Mulcahy now. A lot of rain behind Destiny there, Chris.
Yeah, not a great day, and Destiny, way to brave the showers. Luckily, we're not looking at any threatening weather. The biggest thing is nuisance flooding is what we call it, that some of those typical roads that are a little bit lower lying could go underwater today, but we're not really looking at extreme rain rates that I think is really a life-threatening flooding. Just not a great day whatsoever. Our uptown camera, that's the way it looks like. It almost doesn't even look worth showing to you. And over here in Lylesville, it looks a little bit better. You can actually see off in the distance the main reason why. Much lighter rain. And we don't have those low-hanging clouds as we have around the Charlotte area right now that literally you can't see the top of a lot of the skyscrapers. Some of the heavier rain, some of those yellows have disappeared, but dark green is still going to represent at least a moderate rainfall. And we have that for a good portion for Gastonia over to Mount Holly, Berry Hill, Paw Creek, and then Charlotte in general dealing with that moderate rainfall as well right around Matthews. And the lighter greens will start to move back in, but it's really a mixed bag of intensities, meaning that at one point your windshield wipers can be doing one of these, and then quickly all of a sudden up and down I-77 they start to go for the faster pace. So those rains are going to be up and down as far as how much they're going to come down, but they're not really going to let up until later in the afternoon. For some of us, it's most hours of the day that you're having some sort of measurable rainfall. So that's why it's a rain jacket alert. Also, you got to dress accordingly. Sometimes you have a lighter rain jacket. If you have the heavier one that you would wear earlier in winter, get that one out because 56 degrees is quite chilly for us. I joke, but I literally do this all the time. I open up the door and I'm like, yeah, nope. We got to up a layer. I think you need to do that for today because over the last 6 hours, we already hit our high temperature for the day. 60 degrees was the temperature at 1 a.m. It was 58 at 5 a.m. and we actually exceeded the cool down, and now we're at 56 degrees. We will come back up to about 57, 58, and we pretty much stay there for the entirety of this morning with a 100% chance it's raining a couple hours from now. So maybe you want more than just the rain jacket. The umbrella is a good idea, but it's going to be sopping wet, so you got to leave it in the corner. And then the rain boots, that's actually a great idea because we're picking up 1 to 2 inches of rain today alone. So we're going to have some of those heavier rain showers on and off throughout the morning time heading into the afternoon. Notice that our temperatures don't really move all that much, fluctuating anywhere from 56 to 59 degrees through the course of today. It's by the middle of the afternoon. Let's call it 3 o'clock. That's where we're seeing some of the drier weather. So if you live west of I-77, anytime between about noon to 3, you're going to see a big reduction in the rain. I think you still could have some fog and some mist, drizzle in between, but the heaviest rain is now east at that point. So it's during the afternoon we are going to have some breaks. Rain will start to work its way back in during the evening, and that could last into your Wednesday morning. Your Wednesday morning commute will still have some wet roads, but nothing like what Becca is dealing with right now. She'll have more that's going on. But then check out tomorrow afternoon. I think you could have a developing shower or thunderstorm. That's a change because notice our temperatures are in the upper 70s at that juncture. And then for your Thursday, we have more widespread rain, chance for even a strong thunderstorm down towards the south. And this becomes widespread heading into your Thursday evening into Friday morning. So we have constant pulses of rain that aren't necessarily done today. It's really today through Friday that we have on and off rain that's going on. But in the near term, over the next couple of days, I think that you have up to about 2 inches of rain across the greater Charlotte area. About 1.5 inches of that looks to fall today, at least. For our Guy Roofing 7-day forecast, this is an old version, had the Memorial Day on there. For your Tuesday, 61 degrees. We already hit that at midnight. We're not going to be back there. 78 degrees right around Wednesday, 80 degrees on Thursday. And then here's the nice little change. Once we get rid of that rain on Friday, they'll lower to the mid 80s. Saturday and Sunday drying out nicely. So a wonderful end of the month and a great beginning to June. It is not a great beginning to your morning commute. Becca, this is unprecedented, the amount of incidents that you're seeing so far.
Chris, the terrible Tuesday continues, and you know what? The rain is not helping out there. Do want to give you an update on this serious accident. This has a pedestrian stuck, and this is blocking now all lanes of traffic on Monroe Road just before Conference Drive. I also do want to note that this is right next to East Mecklenburg High School, so this is a very busy stretch of roadway. Again, all lanes of traffic are now blocked off in the Woodwood area. So alternate route right now, you can take Independence Boulevard to get around this, or you can also take Rama Road as well to avoid this area. We do not have an estimated time of reopening, but of course we will continue to monitor this throughout the morning. Over towards South End, got a new incident popping up. This is on Lexington Avenue at South Boulevard. Then a second one in the Dilworth neighborhood at Moore Street being reported at the intersection of Dilworth Road. Another crash being reported in Uptown. This is on 6th Street at the intersection of Tryon Street. Zooming out, we have about 12 active incidents across the Charlotte-Mecklenburg area, and that rain again not helping. Seeing wet roads from the mountains into the metro, and a couple of areas of ponding being reported in the blue, and that continues over towards the Salisbury area. Definitely exercise some caution if you're venturing out this morning.
7:38 now in Washington, a new war of words between President Trump and the Kremlin. The president is making it clear that he is losing patience with Vladimir Putin as Moscow continues to pound Kyiv and other Ukrainian cities. NBC's Bianca Vashidi has the latest from Washington.
Absolutely crazy, emotional. These are the terms U.S. President Donald Trump and the Kremlin use to describe each other these days. The war of words erupting days after Russia launched several deadly attacks on Ukraine.
I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin.
Following the president's comments, a spokesperson with the Russian government said Trump might be dealing with, quote, emotional overload. It's a significant shift in tone from just last week, when Trump had a phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin that he said went, quote, very well, and included discussion on ending the conflict with Ukraine for good. Meanwhile, Ukraine says Russia launched over 700 missiles and drones Sunday, killing at least 18 civilians, including children. One Ukrainian resident says, let the world wake up and see. How long can they bomb children? Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is urging the U.S., Europe, and, quote, all those around the world who seek peace to impose sanctions on Russia, writing on X that they would serve as a guaranteed means of forcing Russia not only to cease fire, but also to show respect. But Putin isn't the only leader Trump currently has harsh words for. On his website, Truth Social, the president writes, President Zelensky is doing his country no favors by talking the way he does. Everything out of his mouth causes problems. I don't like it, and it better stop. Now, it's unclear if President Trump is seriously considering sanctions, but GOP lawmakers here in Washington, like Republican Senators Lindsey Graham and Chuck Grassley, are working on a bill that would impose sanctions on Russia and its allies. In Washington, Bianca Fascini, NBC News.
Well, in your world news this morning, a British man is in custody after allegedly plowing his car through a parade crowd in Liverpool, England. Thousands were out celebrating the Liverpool Football Club's Premier League title when a van drove through that crowd, injuring dozens. Authorities are describing it as a major incident, but say terrorism is not suspected.
What I can tell you is that we believe this to be an isolated incident, and we are not currently looking for anyone else in relation to it. The incident is not being treated as terrorism. We would ask that people refrain from sharing distressing footage from the incident online.
Well, while it's not clear yet exactly how many people were injured, we do know that at least 4 were kids.
Back in the United States, 3 more inmates who escaped from a New Orleans jail are back behind bars this morning. Authorities arrested one while he was sitting on a bench near a department store. 2 others were captured together during a traffic stop in Texas. Now, only 2 inmates, Derek Groves and Antoine Massey, are still on the run.
Right now, Arkansas authorities are looking for a former police chief who escaped from prison. Grant Hardin is the former chief of police in the town of Gateway, serving a 30-year prison sentence for rape and murder. Jail authorities discovered him missing from his cell on Sunday afternoon. The person he killed is the brother of the current Gateway mayor. Now his escape has the mayor and many others on edge.
I love my job, but right now, I don't want no part of it. It's really hard for me to come down here, just like I said, locking those doors. They had called and they had texted, and I looked at Andrew and I said, Hardin's escaped prison. He said, what? You know, we sat there and then, you know, you get on social media and that's all you see. First of all, 30 years wasn't enough. He should have got life, but things happened and that's all he could get. This time, they need to throw away the key.
You know, from what we can tell, he put together a makeshift uniform to mimic law enforcement. That is not a traditional inmate issued uniform. That is not traditional correctional officer issued uniform or any other uniform that we have. It is something that he put together and was able to use that to mimic a law enforcement officer to be able to leave the premises.
Well, the Stone County Sheriff's Office says Hardin is considered extremely dangerous and should not be approached. Back here at home, she created one of the most popular Charlotte-based clothing lines, but now a designer and local mom of 3 says she's navigating tariffs with some big questions and even bigger concerns.
WCNC Charlotte's Michelle Bowden shares a look at a growing small business suddenly dealing with the unexpected and asking, where's the money?
Renata Gasparian just opened this brand new boutique and was looking for other ways to grow her brand when she was hit with some unexpected and very high costs to get her goods out of customs.
Yeah, let me zip it up for you.
Renata Gasparian moved to Charlotte from Brazil and quickly got noticed.
So we're a little bit more casual. And everywhere I went, people would always compliment me on my outfits.
So in early 2020, she started designing her own clothing line using fabrics in a factory in India.
It's a mix of what I say, my Brazilian soul, with a touch of Southern charm.
She officially launched her brand, Renata by Renata Gasparian, in 2020.
It's cute, isn't it? When I started from my house in my bonus room. And the world, you know, when the world shut down is right when I started.
After the pandemic, she moved into a showroom and just last month into a brand new retail space on East Boulevard, only to get hit with another blow.
It took us a much longer time to receive the product. They didn't really even know, like in the customs. They were a little bit unsure of how to release the shipment. So this is a new style. It's a new design.
The only way to get her designs? Pay more.
We have seen the cost go up. We did see a big impact in that, a big difference. And, we were like, oh my goodness, this is a lot. Yeah. Absolutely gorgeous.
Renata co-owns the business with her dad, Nelson Gasparian. The two regularly make trips to India together. And now we're trying to figure out if they'll have to raise prices to cover the rising costs.
Too early for us to say anything. Too early. We don't know if this is the final or if there are other things coming up that we are not aware of. And we have already seen, tariffs that went up, then went down, then went up again. So we don't know what's the next step.
The father-daughter duo were hoping to grow their brand with more retail options, but right now, like so many other small businesses, they've decided to take a wait-and-see approach. Reporting in Charlotte, Michelle Bowden, WCNC Charlotte.
With the unofficial start of summer now underway, dermatologists are reminding you that it's especially important to take care of your skin. The number of new skin cancer cases is up by 42%. The American Cancer Society predicts more than 104,000 new cases of melanoma will be diagnosed this year, and more than 8,000 people will die from the cancer. This morning, dermatologists urging people to pay attention to their skin and keep the sunscreen close.
I always advise patients to keep an eye on their skin. You want to be on the lookout for spots that you think are new, spots that look different from other spots on your body.
Dermatologists also recommend using an SPF of 30 or higher and reapplying it every 2 hours while you're outside. And remember, you are not completely safe from the sun indoors since UV rays can pass directly through the glass in your windows.
All right, let's get right to it. How much rain have we seen so far? It has been a wet beginning to the day, to say the least. And our extended forecast does show that we will get warmer after today. So today stands out from all the rest. The winner for the rainfall total so far, Shelby, you've had a ½ inch of rain. You're the first one to really see the heaviest rain showers we've seen so far this morning, and nothing reported down towards the south and east. It's been very light to nothing at all from Lancaster over to Wadesboro. Lancaster oftentimes will have trouble reporting the rain totals, but I guarantee you've seen at least some rain. And this is only the beginning. I think that we're going to quadruple to quintuple. That's a 4 to 5 times these totals that we have so far. Our Dallas camera, gorgeous, right? We literally have our head in the clouds. These are those low-level clouds, that low-level decastratus. Technically, we're in what's called the nimbostratus clouds. There's two types of rain clouds. There's nimbostratus. Those usually lead to prolonged light to moderate rainfall. And then, of course, the cumulonimbus, the big thunderstorms. Don't really have to worry about any of those today. But check out our Doppler radar. We do have a few pockets of some of that heavier rain. Again, not thunder and lightning worthy here. But the heaviest rain rays right now are in Cleveland County, where we have seen the most rain. This is now pushing its way off towards the east, northeast at about 20 to 25 miles per hour. So that's still fairly slow moving. So that's going to continue to engulf parts of Lincoln County over to Gaston County. And then the rest of us just seeing a rain rate anywhere from barely hitting the ground to a quarter to a ½ inch per hour. So the rain rates are all over the place. Any hour, even minute by minute, is going to change about the intensity of that rain. Meanwhile, over in Louisville, as I mentioned, not a lot of rain has really fallen over here. Check it out, but that's about to change. You're about to see some of those heavier showers for the first time today here in Anson County. You've already been seeing that down in Chesterfield County, and then also Rockingham and Richmond County. You're going to see the change that your barely any rain will turn over to a pretty decent downpour. And this is going to be the case and scenario because it's the eastern zones that haven't had that much rain. Well, soon it's your turn to have rain for several hours, even up to a 12-hour period. Tools of the morning: umbrella, rain jacket, rain boots. I think all of the above is a good idea for today. And 61 degrees was our high. We're going to be in the mid to the upper 50s for the case of today. And it's amazing, though, because that actually feels more like March 6th. Back to May and April feeling temperatures come Wednesday through Friday. And then just in time for June, it'll start feeling like June again at that point. But check out our hourly forecast. It's very rare that you have this many hours of 100% chance for rain. Yeah, it's going to rain. It's been raining and it'll continue to rain. Now, there is some hope by the end of the afternoon that will break up some of these showers, especially the further north and northwest you go. So if you're watching from the mountains, Morganton over in the foothills, even Statesville, you will have a better chance to dry out by the end of the day, even as early as the early afternoon. But this surface map is a true definition of what's called cold air damming. And that's when you have a high pressure system that's filtering in winds out of the northeast, some cooler air from there, and then moisture out of the southwest. These converge into constant rain showers. So it's this moisture that's pushing the rain off towards the northeast. Well, it was actually yesterday, rain was moving in two different directions, and that could also happen through the course of today. So it's kind of a rain-making machine that keeps temperatures level out in that place. Now, coming up, I'm going to take a deeper dive into the temperatures. We'll have that for our cut-in for the NBC show, but then we're also going to have a little bit better look where our temperatures go after this. But first, I have to give Becca some time because it has been a nightmare of a traffic scenario.
Definitely busy out there, Chris, as we take a live look outside towards I-77. This is over in the Mooresville area, and want to show you that it is moving just a little bit slowly out there, so do keep that in mind as you head outdoors. Now, do want to let you know of the biggest problem spot this morning, and that is due to a pedestrian being stuck. This is in the Wynwood neighborhood, outbound Monroe Road before Conference Drive, and the whole of all the lanes of Monroe Road are now completely blocked, and this is right next to East Mecklenburg High School. So best workaround for this would be to take Independence Boulevard. You can also take Rama Road to get around this. No estimated time of reopening. Right now, another crash being reported on Siloam Church Road at Highway 29. Drive safe.
And good morning, time for our very special Tuesday morning tailwhigger along with their friends over at Animal Care and Control. By the way, they had a big fundraiser this weekend and a lot of money raised, $42,000 raised. It was steps for shelter pets and more to be raised. We'll have more about that, obviously, as we go through the next several days. This is our very special Tuesday tailwhigger. This is Tiber. Tiber is a big guy. He's about 2 years old, weighs around 60 pounds, gets along with other dogs, just a sweet and friendly dog. They call him a big lap dog. What's better than that? He is house trained, crate trained, and loves his toys. Look at that guy right there. If you are interested in Tiber, make the phone call, 704-336-7600. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. He is available today. His name is Tiber. Big guy, weighs about 60 pounds. He is 2 years old, and he is our very special Tuesday morning tailwhigger. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
All right, Larry, thanks so much. Now to some sad news for basketball fans this morning. We're learning the CIAA basketball tournament will not return to Charlotte for now. The city was working to get that tournament to the Queen City in 2027, but according to the Regional Visitors Authority, many of the city's major venues were already committed to other events. Charlotte last hosted that tournament back in 2020.
7:52 now, time to connect the dots. That's when we make the news make sense. The Caitlin Clark effect isn't just changing the game, it's changing the business, from packed arenas to surging ticket prices.
Caitlin Clark is doing more than filling seats. She's fueling an economic boom for the WNBA. Let's connect the dots. According to a financial expert at Indiana University, Clark helped drive more than a quarter of all WNBA revenue last year. That includes ticket sales, merchandise, and TV ratings. Now that the WNBA season is longer and more popular, her total economic impact in 2025 could reach $1 billion. Everywhere the Indiana Fever go, ticket prices spike, up 140% when they play on the road. Clark's games are also drawing millions of viewers, topping some NBA preseason broadcasts. Her popularity helped boost merchandise sales by 500% and lifted attendance across the entire league. She's also helped quadruple the estimated value of the Fever franchise. Even tourism in Indianapolis is benefiting, with hotel bookings and web traffic rising on game weekends. Clark's influence is rewriting what's possible in women's sports, and experts say her impact is just getting started. And that's connecting the dots.
Well, check this out. A North Carolina native is once again celebrating a standout showing at one of some unique races around the world. 24-year-old Abby Lamp participated in the annual cheese rolling competition in England. These photos were from last year when she got first place for the second time, and well, as we talk about this, she is still placed third overall and second among women. And in case you aren't aware of how it all works, racers actually chase a 7-pound cheese roll down a slippery and muddy hill. And the event has been held since 1826, if you can believe that. Lamp says she wanted to break the record for a number of wins and says she'll be back next year to try again. Would you guys do this?
No, it looks dangerous.
How do you get into this?
You know,
would you do this?
Do you start young and then, work your way up?
Now, I need to know what the #1 prize is. What are we talking about? $1 million at the end?
I mean, I like cheese, but it's not worth that.
I don't know.
Cheese? No.
I'm not sure if I want to run with the guys. Though. You see,
Look at that.
They were in a headlock and things like that.
Oh
They
my
started
gosh.
fighting over the cheese.
Back breaking.
Now, Chris really loves cheese. He's like a cheese connoisseur.
No, I do. I would chase it down the hill.
Would you down the hill?
For a competition.
We got to put you in the race.
No, I'm down. I don't know if I want to pay that much money to go all the way to England for it. So let's find some hills around here and have our first annual Charlotte cheese rolling competition.
And on that note, we're going to take a quick break. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus. So we're going to have another update on your traffic. And Chris will have another update, not on cheese, but on our rainy forecast for this Tuesday. Then we'll be back with the day's top headlines starting at 8.
Well, it's certainly been below normal, and we're looking at widespread cloud cover, widespread rain. Look at all this green that's here on the map. You have some of those heavier rain showers that will continue to work in over the next few hours. On and off is going to be the name of the game. Check out our temperatures, though. They don't really move too much. We have a range of 56 to 57, 48 in Boone. Just a cold, miserable day. By the middle of the afternoon, we break up a lot of that rain west of I-77. But you can see a little bit closer to the eastern zones, Wadesboro, Rockingham, Chirac, right around 60 degrees. That rain is still continuing. And then we'll have a few breaks with more on and off rain continuing through the overnight on and off. We will be much warmer by tomorrow. Temperatures return to the 70s, even the 80s by this coming weekend. Becca, what's going on traffic-wise?
Chris, want to give you an update on this pedestrian being struck, and this has all lanes at Monroe Road just before Conference Drive completely blocked off, and this has been the third incident of a pedestrian being struck so far this morning. So the rain and the poor visibility, definitely want to exercise lots of caution out there. Right now, best alternate route or workaround would be to take Independence Boulevard. You could also take Rama Road as well to get around this. Also looking at this active crash, this is impacting Siloam Church Road at North Tryon Street, causing a few minor delays. And then another crash being reported Old Pineville Road at Archdale Drive.
Streaming live on WCNC Plus at 8 a.m., I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Kaylin Hagwood in for Ben. We're going to start with breaking news right now out of Uptown, where police are on the scene of a shooting this morning.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane arrived at that scene just moments ago. He joins us live now. Richard, what can you tell us?
Yeah, first of all, let's tell you, we're at the First Ward Place Apartments. This is right off of North Davidson and 7th Street. I'll step out of the way as we still have a pretty active scene. A police presence is here. We're still trying to figure out exactly what happened, but from what we've heard, 2 people shot. Don't know the extent of their injuries. One neighbor did tell me that they saw a medic come by and leave. They don't know if they had someone with them. Right now, police, as you can see, are milling about, actually leaving the scene. There was a heavier presence just a short while ago, and a lot of those police cars have left, but you can still see a number of officers here. One person said that they were told by officers that 2 people were shot, again, not knowing the extent of their injuries. CMPD, of course, we've been reaching out to them to try to find out exactly what happened. Neighbors tell us that this appears to be on the 2nd floor of that building you're looking at right there, where the officer in the reflective gear is standing. They've been up there. They've got detectives here as well. This could be the result of a possible home invasion or some sort of robbery or something of that nature. Right now, we don't know. So we're going to continue to speaking with the neighbors here. We're going to continue speaking with the police officers. We're letting them do their job. We have not heard that anyone has been transported. What we have heard, 2 people have been shot. We'll find out more about that and bring that information to you throughout the day right here on the Plus, as well as all of our other platforms, so that we can keep you updated on exactly what's going on. We're right here in Uptown. This is Richard Devane. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
And Richard, I know you're just arriving there, but have you heard anything from law enforcement in terms of the severity of this?
Yeah, again, we have not heard about from CMPD. They're still investigating. We're waiting to hear back from them. We did hear from a neighbor just a few minutes ago, said she saw a medic come. She did not see them transport. We're reaching out to medic to find out if there are any transports. And once we get that information, we'll bring it to you as soon as possible.
All right, Richard Devane live for us this morning on that breaking news in Uptown. Right now, we're following some more news just into our newsroom. This morning, we're learning the principal of Ardrey Kell High School is suspended with pay. According to a public records request, she was suspended on May 2nd. However, it is not clear yet why or when she is expected to return to the school.
All right, so Kaylin and Lisa and Becca, I just want to let you know the forecast for our first annual cheese rolling competition, where you're going to hold the cheese glory like this, will be this afternoon. And then that's where you're expecting nice muddy conditions down that hill. Haven't chosen the hill yet. By the way, this is a joke. If you just joined us, there was a cheese rolling competition over in Gloucester, England. So this sounds awesome, though. We'll try to get some coordination going for this event. But if you were to catch a rolling wheel of cheese downhill in a muddy atmosphere, today is the perfect day for it, because we got lots of mud that are going to be out and about. 100% chance that it's going to be raining by the early afternoon. Already, we've had a 1/4 inch of rain right around Charlotte. We had about a 1/2 inch of rain right here around Shelby and Gastonia, and then close to about 4/10 of an inch around Hickory. Notice there's a lot more rain to the west compared to what we had to the east, because it really hasn't been raining all that much for you. Dallas, it's been beautiful. I love this shot. This is what it looks like if you had your head up into a deck of a nimbostratus cloud, and that's exactly what's causing the rain. 2 types of rain clouds. I raised your weather IQ on this earlier. Nimbostratus is more of a long rain duration. Could be anywhere from a light to a heavier rain shower, and cumulonimbus can do anything. You know that. That's a thunderstorm, literally. And the heaviest rain is off towards the west. The reason why we have almost double the rain over in Gastonia, Lincolnton, right around Shelby, is because of those yellows that have been further off towards the west. Charlotte had its share of it not too long ago, but now it's a little bit lighter rain. Over here in Louisville, it's just a cloudy sky. You can actively see the rain if you look really closely. Just a light to moderate rain shower that's now overhead. By the way, Louisville is really close to Wadesboro, just off towards the east here on Highway 74, and that rain rate is really going to pick up for you as well. Our tools of the morning, and I could also say for the afternoon, the umbrella, the rain jacket, the rain boots. It's not often I'm going to tell you, hey, you need the trifecta, but you really do today, especially a warmer rain jacket. I don't want people to be ill prepared for today. This is a cold, miserable rain, and you might notice that people might just be doing a 180 when they get outside and say, oh no, I need to dress warmer. I want to tell you now, yeah, wear the heavier rain jacket or a sweatshirt, maybe hoodie weather with the rain jacket over it. That was my combo this morning. I felt great. March 6th, by the way, is what today feels like. We already hit our high of 61 degrees. Right now we're 56 degrees, which realistically, I think 56 to 59 is our temperature range for the afternoon. That's actually a little bit more typical for late February. That's why today was near a record-breaking cold afternoon, or just high temperature in general. And then we're back to May status by tomorrow, 78 to 80 degrees for your Wednesday and your Thursday. Hour by hour, as I mentioned, we're ranging from about 56 to 59 degrees. Most of the rain that falls, I think, is really going to be now until about 2, 3 o'clock. After that, we have some nice little improvements that are happening. And this setup that you're seeing here, this little stationary front that's kind of bending and twisting, doing the shimmy back and forth, eventually it will start to kick its way into high gear. But for right now, it's just the perfect setup of cold air filtering into moisture, creating a band of rain, one shower forming after another. But there is some drier air on the backside of this that eventually will be here for the afternoon. And as I already mentioned, this is not typical. This is about a 20 to 22 degree downgrade from where we should be for this time of the year. Okay, let's get right to your futurecast. Here's 8 o'clock. That's where we're at right now. I oftentimes like to match this up to the radar saying, is this futurecast on point for where we're at? And yes, I do think that this one is pretty agreeable. There will be times that you won't have any active light to moderate rain, but you could still have some mist drizzle and some fog in between. That would be those areas of white here. But I think the heaviest rain that Charlotte sees is realistically going to be now until about noon. Then once you get to about noon to 3, we're starting to see some clearing, still a chance for some fog intermittently to form on the back side of this. But west of I-77 from about noon to 3, that's where you're starting to clear out. From about 3 to 6, that we just have some leftover lingering rain, still some drizzle. Yesterday it barely rained. You can kind of be returning back to that status that the atmosphere is just kind of spitting at you, or just a steady mist in the sky. That's the case in scenario. But today 100% no sunshine. It is just going to be a cloudy, overcast, damp, I want to take a nap type of day. After today, we should see the sunshine return for your Wednesday, scattered on Thursday, and rain is likely on Friday. What about our severe weather potential? No. Technically, no. There is a slight chance that we have a strong thunderstorm to our south. That's only including the upstate around Chesterfield, Lancaster, Chester County. You're included in this just because we will have some developing storms on the back edge of this. And I want to show you what that looks like. So this longer range model is pinpointing that we're going to have some more rain that returns tonight. Still could have some showers to start off your morning commute, but it's not as widespread as what we have this morning. Thank goodness, because Becca is having quite the traffic morning, and she'll get to that in one moment. But by tomorrow, I think we see the sunshine. I think this is a little misleading. I think it's more of a mostly cloudy day where we see the sunshine return, not complete blue sky. And then we see a developing shower or storm possible by the late afternoon heading into the evening. Not a guarantee by any stretch of the imagination. By Thursday, this is a much better chance. I think that little SBC that was showing you that outlook for a stronger thunderstorm might be a better chance really for your Thursday morning. Look at those stronger cells, and then more widespread rain starts to work its way in during your Thursday afternoon, heading into Friday morning where rain is likely. By the time all this is said and done, I think we could have upwards to 2 to 3 inches, especially east of I-77, and at least a 1 to 2 inch range further off towards the west. So rain totals, I think, are going to be all over the place. So let's call it 1 to 3 inches through Friday before we start to dry out heading into the weekend. Our Guy Roofing 7-day forecast, this is a really nice forecast. We have the lower 80s for the last day of May, lower to the mid 80s on Sunday, nice mix of cloud and sunshine, and let the good times roll. Feeling great, feeling warm, heading into next Monday. So it'll be well worth it. But what a difference. Starting with 61, ending with 85 degrees. So you pretty much are feeling like February, March, April, May, and then June, all through 7-day stretch of weather. Now let's get to the now. What's happening on our roads? Significant ponding. Not a great start, Becca.
That's right, Chris. And we do have a couple of updates on that serious pedestrian crash that was happening over towards Monroe Road that had portions of Monroe Road completely blocked in both directions from Conference Drive to Old Post Road. Now, I want to give you an update because our crew just made it to the scene, and they said just minutes ago that the scene has completely cleared and the road has opened in both directions. We also did learn from medic that one person was transported to the hospital with life-threatening injuries, but an alternate route that is not needed anymore, again, as the scene has cleared. So taking you through some of the maps, again, best alternate route was to take Independence Boulevard. That is not needed now, but we'll likely continue to see traffic recover from that accident. Got a couple of other incidents out there that I want to let you know of. This one in South End on Lexington Avenue at South Boulevard. Then we got a second one over towards the Dilworth neighborhood, and this is impacting Dilworth Road at the intersection of Moorhead Street. Do also have this active incident involving a school bus. This is blocking the right lane of traffic at Billy Graham Parkway at South Tryon Street. Got about 15 different incidents just across the Charlotte-Mecklenburg area, and that rain's certainly not helping us out. Live look outside. This is from I-77 at Atondo Avenue. Those southbound lanes, those are all drivers headed towards South Charlotte, and it is just packed with traffic. Definitely allow yourself plenty of extra time as you head outdoors.
All right, Becca, thanks so much. Creating more welcoming, vibrant spaces in Charlotte. That is the goal of a new city-led effort to give away free furniture to local communities.
Well, it's all a part of a push to reimagine how public spaces are used and enjoyed. And joining us now to explain how the project works is Charlotte Cuscavere, Planning Project Manager with the Urban Design Center. Charlotte, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So if you could just start by telling us a little bit about the Urban Design Center and the work that you all are doing in the community.
Of course. The Urban Design Center is located within the City of Charlotte's Planning Department. Our mission is to advance the quality of Charlotte's built environment and bring public awareness to the importance of urban design. We do that in a few ways, but one of them is placemaking. And this is transforming underutilized space into vibrant places for people, and really using and collaborating with the people who will use that space to make it happen.
And so this is a new initiative. We want to know, what's the inspiration behind donating free furniture to enhance these community spaces?
Yeah, we completely revamped our placemaking hub. And this is a guidebook that empowers residents to design, install, and maintain their own public space projects. So we wanted to get the word out about this new tool and empower communities to improve their shared spaces quickly and creatively. And this was a great way, we thought, to get the news out about the tool. There's no lack of ideas, but sometimes something as small as, having a bench available can really help move a project forward.
And Charlotte, I feel like maybe you touched on this just a little bit, but what kind of furniture will be given away and where is it all coming from?
Yeah, we have commercial quality furniture that's been built and designed for the wear and tear of public spaces. It's all either in a fun color or a really innovative design, so we've been calling it furniture. We've got bistro sets, benches, picnic tables, and Adirondack chairs. This furniture is being donated by 4 companies who believe in the importance of placemaking and, access to community gathering space. They will donate it and are partnering with us. It's Landscape Forms, Lowell, MCT, and Vestry. So we're very thankful for them.
And the furniture, or furniture as you call it, really can make the difference. It can be a moment in the space. How do you determine which spaces are eligible to receive the furniture?
Yeah, eligibility is going to be really easy. We're looking for shared community spaces. These spaces can be privately owned as long as they are publicly accessible. We're really going to be looking at access and the impact that we think your idea could have.
And how does placemaking and something as simple as furniture impact the way people interact with the city?
Yeah, placemaking allows people who live in the area to really take the reins in designing it themselves. This really strengthens the connection between people and the places they share. There are so many spaces that we pass through every day without giving it a second thought. Adding something like a piece of furniture lets people know that, they're allowed to be there and they can linger and get to know each other.
And you mentioned that the places can be either public or privately owned. What's the application process to get some of this furniture?
We'd like for everyone to post a photo or a video on Instagram or Facebook of where they'd like to utilize this furniture and tag the Urban Design Center at CLT Urban Design. And then there's a quick application at charlottenc.gov/placemaking hub. This application is really just asking for contact information, the address of your location, and why you think it's a good location. You know, what difference will it make? And make sure you're following us and that your posts are viewable.
All right, Charlotte, where can people go to learn more about this initiative?
Yeah, they can go to charlottenc.gov/placemaking hub.
Wonderful. Charlotte Kuskevere with the Urban Design Center. Thank you so much for joining us and telling about this new initiative.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Well, happening today, Charlotte City Councilwoman Tijuana Brown will attend her first council meeting since pleading not guilty to federal charges. Brown says she has no plans to resign and says she'll fight these charges and for her seat. The councilwoman and her daughters are facing charges of wire fraud and conspiracy connected to more than $124,000 in COVID relief funds. Ahead, our Richard Devane is going to have more on what this meeting could mean for Brown's seat. Also happening at tonight's meeting, the council will welcome its newest member. Edwin Peacock is set to be formally sworn in during tonight's meeting. He was appointed to fill the District 6 seat left vacant by Tariq Bakari, and he will remain in that seat until the November election.
Today's meeting comes as the Charlotte Fraternal Order of Police continues its vote of no confidence for the chief.
WCNC Charlotte's Miles Harris dives into what this all means for the department.
The last few weeks have been chaotic for Chief Johnny Jennings. Questions have been brewing since news came earlier this month that the city settled with Chief Jennings for more than $300,000. The settlement comes after former city council member Tariq Bakari allegedly threatened Jennings' career over the chief's refusal to allow officers to wear outer carrier protective vests, and the move drawing concerns from the Charlotte Fraternal Order of Police. And the Charlotte Mecklenburg police chief will soon learn more on the FOP's confidence in his role, as nearly 2,000 members from the private organization can start the official voting process for a no-confidence vote against CMPD Chief Jennings.
He knows that his officers are a part of that FOP.
Online voting began early Monday morning, and for current FOP members, in-person voting starts on May 27th. But what does this vote mean? The Charlotte Police Organization can hold a vote, but they can't make the hiring decisions for the city of Charlotte. The outcome will likely only be symbolic. Michael Graff, the man who first spoke with Jennings about his retirement, joined the WCNC Impact stream to discuss where Chief Jennings stands with the FOP and former Councilman Bakari.
He never said a bad word about the FOP. He never spoke former City Councilman Tariq Bakari's name. He never mentioned his name. He only called him a former councilman or something like that in my interview. So no, he didn't take any shots at anybody else in the interview.
And members of the FOP, they have until June 3rd to cast their vote. In East Charlotte, I'm Miles Harris, WCNC Charlotte.
Thanks a lot, Miles. Oh, man, luckily Miles was not live this morning. Destiny was getting soaked out there. And here is a look at what's happening around Charlotte. Just a deluge of rain that we've seen in some parts. Light to moderate rain really looks to be the name of the game. Some of the heaviest rain that I'm actually seeing is further off towards the west, and we're starting to fill in the gaps a little bit further off towards the east as well. So just a wet morning. Here's where we've been. 2 a.m. we were at 59. 58 is where we were for about a 3-hour stretch. Now, right now, for the 8 o'clock hour, we're at 56 degrees, and eventually we'll have the upper 50s once again. By the way, 61. We're done. That's our high temperature for the day. Even if we get a break from the rain, I think it's really tough to even get back to the lower 60s. Some areas to the southeast might be able to do the same. And then we also are looking at a good chance for another round of rain to roll in through the overnight, but eventually we're going to have some of that warmer air that's going to be on the way. But right now we're dealing with a classic setup of the CAD, the wedge, cold air damming. What happens here, we have colder air that gets back against the mountains. You have a high pressure system. that's filtering in winds out of the northeast. Meanwhile, moisture is driving into that colder air, and that's what just creates just pretty much rain shower after rain shower, and that rain cooled air continues to keep us on the cooler side. So it's going to be really tricky going forward. And this little bend that you're seeing here along the stationary front, that's classic cold air damming as well. So even into tomorrow morning, it's still going to be on the cooler side. Eventually, this is going to break, and once that warm front gets past us, that's going to allow for us to have, one, a little extra moisture, but then two, we start to see our thunderstorm chance return because temperatures will be much, much warmer. And I'm not talking about a cold rain in the 50s. I want to go back to the now, looking at some of the rain across the area because this is just focused in on Charlotte, seeing some of the heaviest rain showers that are now starting to push in from the southwest. So we have a little bit of break that's now starting to form here in this rain. That's actually a pretty good sign. I think the back edge of this is going to start to give way really by the late morning. That means that areas west of I-77, anywhere between about noon to 3 are going to see a nice little improvement as far as that rain goes. But if you're just seeing rain for the first time, and I'm mainly talking to you, Anson, Richmond, Chesterfield, even parts of Union County, it's only just begun for you, and it's going to rain pretty much most of the day going forward. So let's get right to our futurecast. I'll show you what exactly is on the horizon. I'm not just talking about today. It's just a wicked raw day. You're not dealing with any sunshine. You don't have anything to really look forward to. Oftentimes I'm like, well, at least it'll be warmer later on today. Nope. Well, at least the rain will stop here in a few hours. Nope. But later this afternoon, we will have a little bit of improvement. So let's get to that part. Still heavy rain possible around lunchtime. So we're talking about wet sandwiches. Definitely don't eat outside. By 3 o'clock, here's the improvement I'm talking about. But it's 46, damp, and cloudy in Boone come 3 p.m. It's 54 in Hickory, same thing goes. And oftentimes once the rain stops, sometimes the rain or the water that's on the surface tries to evaporate, and that could lead to some fogs. We also have fog and mist that's possible behind this. Then once we hit a significant break about mid to late afternoon, we will start to see a second coming of that rain, and that really evolves through the overnight. That's going to keep temperatures in the lower to the mid 50s. And then by tomorrow morning's commute, I don't think you're going to have as much widespread rain, but still a chance for another damp and wet road. High temperatures reaching the upper 70s tomorrow, but as we have that front nearby, we will have a chance for a shower or thunderstorm or two, especially in the upstate of South Carolina for a developing shower or storm. But then Thursday is really trending to be a wetter day than it was earlier, even when I was talking at 4:30 this morning. Much more widespread. So I think you have scattered rain and even thunderstorms during your Thursday afternoon. That continues Thursday night, heading into Friday. And then after that, we start to get rid of all of the above. So how much rain are we going to see at least over the next couple of days? I think about 1.5 inches to 2 inches of rain. Today does have the lowest risk for some nuisance flooding, as it's called. So some of those areas that are prone to flooding could go underwater today. So just really temper expectations and watch for that significant ponding as you're out and about. Coming up in just a few minutes, I'll give you another sneak peek to our Guy Roofing 7-day forecast. But first, we have to get to the must-know events that are happening for your morning commute with Becca.
And it's still busy out there as we take a live look outside. This is from I-85 at the Brookshire Boulevard. You can see traffic moving along nicely, both those north and southbound lanes. Right now, no issues on 85. Do want to let you know of some good news, though, to start off. We do have that incident on Billy Graham Parkway at South Tryon Street. That is cleared, was previously blocking one lane of traffic. Also want to let you know over towards Gastonia, we have a new crash being reported on I-85 and northbound at Cox Road, and you can see that stretch of red indicating some delays are continuing to set up again, especially if you're headed from Gaston inbound into Mecklenburg County. A couple of other incidents out there, including this one. This is a crash on Old Pineville Road being reported at Archdale Drive. Zooming out, big picture, still have over 10 active incidents across the Charlotte Metro and lots of congestion, so allow yourself plenty of extra time as you head outdoors. Right now, Matthews to Uptown Charlotte will take about 33 minutes, Salisbury 56, Waxhaw 39, and Belmont 24.
After a busy holiday weekend for Charlotte Douglas, the airport is now looking ahead to a busy summer. American Airlines estimates it will operate at about 72,000 flights out of Charlotte Douglas through September 2nd. New research this morning showing the airport is now the third busiest connection hub in the country, with more than 75% of flyers taking connecting flights.
People nationwide spent the day Monday honoring the lives of soldiers who died while serving our country. A special ceremony was held to honor this. The CMPD Honor Guard actually gave a special presentation, and a woman who survived World War II shared her experience with the war.
Well, check this out. A historic moment near Raleigh. Alexia George just became the first woman to play in the Coastal Plain League. She was named player of the game Saturday night when the Holly Springs Salamanders beat the Carolina Pirates 11-1. When asked how it made her feel, George says that she enjoyed showing other girls that they can play baseball one day and, quote, any girl can do anything. Well, we're going to take a quick break right now, but make sure you stay with us. Streaming live on WCNC Plus. We'll have another check of weather and traffic in just 2 minutes, and then we'll be back with more of the day's top headlines at 8:30.
Well, good morning, everybody. It is an active wet start to the day. On and off rain will continue going forward. And just letting you know, our futurecast will keep rain around for a good portion of today. I really think it's right around the middle of the afternoon. We start to see a little bit of break. Check it out. Here's 9 o'clock. We will see a few lulls in between here. Start to pick up right around noon. But I think it's really any time between about noon and 3. We start to see a little bit of improvement. Still a chance for a little bit of light rain, but most of our measurable rainfall will be falling through the morning time. For our Guy Roofing 70 forecast, 61. That's it. That was our high temperature right around midnight. Other than that, we're at anywhere from the mid 50s to the upper 50s for the rest of today. Just yuck status. So it's a cold, miserable rain. At least it gets a little bit drier later on with developing rain still again heading into Wednesday. Much warmer though, and then we should be dry by the weekend. Becca, what's going on? It's been very busy for you.
Yeah, that rain has made for a messy Tuesday morning commute. A live look outside taking you up towards North Charlotte, I-77 at the intersection of 85. Both intersections are very busy at this hour. Road conditions right now, you can see that road weather index, a lot of wet streets out there, but in the blue that's indicating some ponding, so do be aware of that, especially alongside the border of Lancaster and Chesterfield County. Got a couple of incidents out there. Biggest problem spot this morning is going to be in Gastonia. This is I-85 northbound crash being reported at Cox Road with currently one lane of traffic blocked off. In addition, still of this active crash on Lexington Avenue at South Boulevard.
for joining us on WCNC Plus at 8:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Kaylin Hagwood in for Ben. Happening today, Gaston County leaders could finalize a $424 million budget. That impacts everything from school funding to public safety.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live this morning. And Destiny, in this budget, there is some good news for homeowners.
That's right. In this proposed budget, the county is keeping the property tax rate flat, so it will be exactly the same for homeowners as it was in the previous year. And this is even as county leaders work to manage rising costs. Now, Gaston County's proposed budget is $424 million, and it holds the line on property taxes at 59.9 cents per $100 of assessed value. And there's also good news for schools, too. If the budget passes, Gaston County schools would get an extra $500,000 to boost teacher salary supplements. Gaston College would receive an additional $250,000 in funding as well. Gaston County Manager Matt Roten says balancing the budget was not easy, as the county is facing nearly $31 million in new expenses, much of it from school bond debt and inflation. Departments were also asked to cut operating costs by more than 6% and delay capital projects to make it all work. And even with these cuts, there are also some good investments in this budget proposal. There's 10 new county positions. It maintains key employee benefits. And then there's also the preservation of certain aspects to the public safety of Gaston County, as well as the library system, the family justice system. Gaston County Museum is getting some part in this budget. So all great things there. And if you still want to weigh in on the budget proposal, there is a public hearing happening tonight, followed by a final vote by the Gaston County Commissioners, and then all of this will go into effect on July 1st. Live this morning in Gaston County, I'm Destiny Richards, WCNC Charlotte.
Destiny, let's talk more about the schools. You told us about the new money for schools, but what about those aging school buildings?
Yeah, so once again, part of the costs that the county has to deal with is the school debt. So this is with aging school buildings. It's still very much a concern for them. School bond debt is what I meant to say. And the proposed budget includes $16 million in new debt payments. And this is part of the final round of the 2018 voter approved $250 million in school bonds. And also the bond money is earmarked for just renovation. So again, no capital projects or any school construction. They do say there's some more long-term investments that need to be made for school facilities, but that would be $600 million they foresee with that.
All right. Thank you, Destiny.
Thanks, Destiny. Let's turn now to our Chris Mulcahy, who's been tracking the forecast. And wow, Chris, a lot of green on the map.
Yeah, and even a lot of yellow, too. So you're not seeing me right now because I'm actually navigating over here at the weather computer, but I'm doing it for a reason. So I wanted to show you what some of these rain rates absolutely represent. So let's actually zoom into Charlotte. So right around Charlotte, the 485 loop, typically whenever you have kind of that light to medium green, it's not going to be that much of a rain rate. So let's put it right here. That's about 1/100th of an inch per hour. Once you start getting into that darker green, notice the difference. It's almost 10 times as much. And then it's the yellow that really surprise you. So anytime you go from that general green to the dark green to around a yellow band, here let's use Mount Holly for example, it's about 1/4 of an inch. Notice how the rain rates almost exponentially increase, and if I actually take one of the oranges that are in here, that's almost closer to about 1/2 inch. So you're seeing rain rates anywhere from barely a trace to 1/100th of an inch to about 1/2 inch per hour. So that is just showing the discrepancy that we have. There's some of our rain rates. Let's see what some other ones I can have. That's close to about 1/2 inch right around Weddington. So those are all over the place. So those pockets of heavier rain will continue to be the norm. And what we've seen realistically over the last hour or so, there is a backside of this. So that would be some relatively drier air that we will eventually start to work in a little bit later on. But the biggest story that we've really been seeing associated with the system are the current temperatures, where it is just absolutely chilly right now. Being at 56 degrees is significant because we can drop down down to 56 degrees for a low. 61s are normal, so that's really not too unorthodox. It's 54 in Gastonia and 54 in Lincoln. That is a very cold rain, and we're not really expecting our temperatures to really move too much forward from that. That's awful. And that, I think, is the best optimism to maybe reach about 58 degrees a little bit later on in the afternoon. We had 61 around midnight, and 61 is still feeling more like early March. Afternoon in the upper 50s is actually more indicative of a last day of February. So February 28th is where that's an average high. So that really puts it in perspective. So let's go through our futurecast. It's over the next few hours. I think what's going to happen is we're still going to have those pockets of those yellows and oranges that I was just talking about. That's the big difference maker too, because you're walking around in the green. Okay, it's barely coming down. It's kind of a nuisance rain. And then just like that, you're going to have some of those heavier downpours that are going to be upon you. Just realize how terrible of a snapper I am. We have those light to moderate rain showers that'll be on and off through the rest of this morning. I think you're going to have the peak of some of that heavier rain around Charlotte. Really, I would say anywhere between about 9 to 1 o'clock. After that, we do see a nice little improvement. That little backside that I was showing you, this system in general is moving forward east-northeast at about 20 to 25 miles per hour. So areas west of I-77, by about noon to 3, we'll start to see a little bit of break in the action. Beyond that, you might have a break with some fog and some drizzle, but then another second coming of showers will be possible behind that. So we can have more rain through the overnight, a wet beginning to your morning commute, and then beyond that, you'll have a few more pulses of rain. So see this 40% that I have on Thursday? I think I might up that to a 60%. So the next time I'm going to be showing you this, we're going to have a higher potential because things are really coming to fruition that we're going to have a more widespread event as we get into your Thursday. So we'll have more on that coming up for your Guy Roofing 7-day forecast, so I'll update you there. But in the meantime, you got to know it's a chilly one. It's not the typical rain jacket. Have the heavier rain jacket, maybe a sweatshirt, a hoodie with that rain jacket over it for this really damp start to your morning commute. But first, we have to hit to your traffic and road conditions. With Becca, it hasn't been great.
Has not been great, Chris, but you know what? We're starting to see traffic slowly settle down out there. Live like outside across York County. Really the only jam-packed area is 77 northbound past Gold Hill Road just before you hit Mecklenburg County. And this is a live look as you hit Mecklenburg County. I-77 at Westinghouse Boulevard. Again, those northbound lanes just a little bit slow as they continue to be packed with traffic. As drivers make their way to uptown Charlotte, you can see a lot less incidents out there on the board, meaning rush hour traffic is slowly starting to come to an end here. Biggest problem though is still over towards Gaston County. I-85 northbound at Cox Road still has one lane of traffic blocked off and a stretch of delays with that. In addition, I want to let you know of this crash that is clear. That is Sharon Amity Road at Central Ave. Don't have to worry about that. New crash being reported. This is a new image. Northbound Tryon Street at 16th Street. That incident is in the right lane and currently one lane is blocked off. Right now, drive times Matthews to Charlotte at 31 minutes. Salisbury up to now 56. Waxhaw 39 and Belmont 24.
8:38 now in Washington. A new war of words between President Trump and the Kremlin. The president is making it clear that he is losing patience with Vladimir Putin. Moscow continues to pound Kyiv and other Ukrainian cities. NBC's Bianca Vashidi has the latest from Washington.
Absolutely crazy. Emotional. These are the terms U.S. President Donald Trump and the Kremlin use to describe each other these days. The war of words erupting days after Russia launched several deadly attacks on Ukraine.
I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin.
Following the president's comments, a spokesperson with the Russian government said Trump might be dealing with, quote, emotional overload. It's a significant shift in tone from just last week, when Trump had a phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin that he said went, quote, very well, and included discussion on ending the conflict with Ukraine for good. Meanwhile, Ukraine says Russia launched over 700 missiles and drones Sunday, killing at least 18 civilians, including children. One Ukrainian resident says, let the world wake up and see. How long can they bomb children? Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is urging the U.S., Europe, and, quote, all those around the world who seek peace to impose sanctions on Russia, writing on X that they would serve as a guaranteed means of forcing Russia not only to cease fire, but also to show respect. But Putin isn't the only leader Trump currently has harsh words for. On his website, Truth Social, the president writes, President Zelensky is doing his country no favors by talking the way he does. Everything out of his mouth causes problems. I don't like it, and it better stop. Now, it's unclear if President Trump is seriously considering sanctions, but GOP lawmakers here in Washington, like Republican Senators Lindsey Graham and Chuck Grassley, are working on a bill that would impose sanctions on Russia and its allies. In Washington, Bianca Fascini, NBC News.
Well, in more world news this morning, a British man is in custody accused of plowing his car through a parade crowd in Liverpool, England. Thousands were out celebrating the Liverpool Football Club's Premier League title when a van drove through the crowd, injuring dozens. Authorities are describing it as a major incident, but say that terrorism is not suspected.
What I can tell you is that we believe this to be an isolated incident, and we are not currently looking for anyone else in relation to it. The incident is not being treated as terrorism. We would ask that people refrain from sharing distressing footage from the incident online.
Well, while it's not clear yet exactly how many people were injured, we do know that at least 4 were kids.
Back in the United States, 3 more inmates who escaped from a New Orleans jail are back behind bars this morning. Authorities arrested one while he was sitting on a bench near a department store. 2 others were captured during traffic stops in Texas. Now, only 2 inmates, Derek Groves and Antoine Massey, are still on the run.
Right now, Arkansas authorities are looking for a former police chief who escaped from prison. Grant Hardin is the former chief of police in the town of Gateway, serving a 30-year prison sentence for rape and murder. Jail authorities discovered him missing from his cell on Sunday afternoon. The person he killed is the brother of the current Gateway mayor. Now his escape has the mayor and many others on edge.
I love my job, but right now, I don't want no part of it. It's really hard for me to come down here, just like I said, locking those doors. They had called and they had texted, and I looked at Andrew and I said, Hardin's escaped prison. He said, what? You know, we sat there and then, you know, you get on social media and that's all you see. First of all, 30 years wasn't enough. He should have got life, but things happened and that's all he could get. This time, they need to throw away the key.
You know, from what we can tell, he put together a makeshift uniform to mimic law enforcement. That is not a traditional inmate issued uniform. That is not traditional correctional officer issued uniform or any other uniform that we have. It is something that he put together and was able to use that to mimic a law enforcement officer to be able to leave the premises.
Well, the Stone County Sheriff's Office says Hardin is considered extremely dangerous as they continue to investigate that case. Now, back here at home, she created one of the most popular Charlotte-based clothing lines, but now a designer and local mom says she's navigating tariffs with some big questions and even bigger concerns.
WCNC Charlotte's Michelle Bowden shares a look at a growing small business suddenly dealing with the unexpected and asking, where's the money?
Renata Gasparian just opened this brand new boutique and was looking for other ways to grow her brand when she was hit with some unexpected and very high costs to get her goods out of customs.
Yeah, let me zip it up for you.
Renata Gasparian moved to Charlotte from Brazil and quickly got noticed.
We're a little bit more casual. And everywhere I went, people would always compliment me on my outfits.
So in early 2020, she started designing her own clothing line using fabrics in a factory in India.
It's a mix of what I say, my Brazilian soul, with a touch of Southern charm.
She officially launched her brand, Renata by Renata Gasparian, in 2020.
It's cute, isn't it? When I started from my house in my bonus room. And the world, you know, when the world shut down is right when I started.
After the pandemic, she moved into a showroom and just last month into a brand new retail space on East Boulevard, only to get hit with another blow.
It took us a much longer time to receive the product. They didn't really even know, like in the customs. They were a little bit unsure of how to release the shipment. So this is a new style, it's a new design.
The only way to get her designs? Pay more.
We have seen the cost go up. We did see a big impact in that, a big difference. And, you know, we were like, oh my goodness, this is Like, this is a lot. Yeah. Absolutely gorgeous.
Renata co-owns the business with her dad, Nelson Gasparian. The two regularly make trips to India together, and now we're trying to figure out if they'll have to raise prices to cover the rising costs.
Too early for us to say anything. Too early. We don't know if this is the final or if there are other things coming up that we are not aware of. And we have already seen, tariffs that went up, then went down, then went up again. So we don't know what's the next step.
The father-daughter duo were hoping to grow their brand with more retail options, but right now, like so many other small businesses, they've decided to take a wait-and-see approach. Reporting in Charlotte, Michelle Bowden, WCNC Charlotte.
With the unofficial start of summer now underway, dermatologists are reminding you that it is especially important to take care of your skin. The number of new skin cancer cases is up by 42%. The American Cancer Society predicts that more than 104,000 new cases of melanoma will be diagnosed this year. More than 8,000 people will die from the cancer. This morning, dermatologists are urging people to pay attention to their skin and keep the sunscreen close.
I always advise patients to keep an eye on their skin. You want to be on the lookout for spots that you think are new, spots that look different from other spots on your body.
Dermatologists also recommend using an SPF of 30 or higher and reapplying every 2 hours when you're outside. And remember, you are not completely safe from the sun indoors. UV rays can pass directly through the glass in your windows.
Well, I'm just letting you know today is as low as the UV index can go because zero sunshine. Now, often people say, well, when it's cloudy, you can still have the UV rays. No, the clouds are so thick from bottom to top. Don't worry about it. Active rain is going to help us out a little bit. Now, late in the afternoon, you could have just a cloudy sky, so there's the slightest little bit of UV, but still down to a 1 to a 2, as low as it goes. You have the medium to upper bound rain intensity starting to develop right here on a Doppler radar. We're not talking about torrential downpours, but anytime you have an orange, it's really tough to see in front of you. And that's exactly what we're seeing now across Monroe, over to Polkton, over here in Anson County. And then rain rates are just all over the place, barely a trickle to a drizzle to seeing a heavier downpour from place to place. So just want you to keep that in mind as you're working your way through the day. I'm actually stalling here because I do have one graphic that I have here. It's right here. It's an old banner, but it is going to show you my point here. Check this out. You have an orange on the radar. So I took this from my car one time. So this is a good example, exactly what an orange would look like. Check that out. So that's exactly what some people are going to be dealing with once they're within some of those bands that I was just showing you. So if you're driving, say, just east of 321, right around here, east of Lincolnton, it would look like I just showed you. And then now also starting to push this way into McConnell's, Rock Hill, you're potentially going to be seeing rain rates that look like that as well. Now, the good news is the back side of this system is starting to break up a little bit. So that means that we are almost rain-free, or at least just down to a drizzle to some fog. Now, the back edge of this, if you measure this, is about 80 miles away. It's moving about 20 miles per hour, so it does keep rain here up to the I-77 corridor for at least the next 4 hours or so. Still think that there's going to be a little bit more bands of rain that'll form on the back side of this because you have the right setup. We've been talking about cold air damming all morning long, and the reason why is because you have moisture pushing from the southwest. You have colder air that's filtering in from the northeast, so the meeting of the cold air to the warm air with the moisture is just a perfect setup for a longer range rain event. So we continue to feed a few more showers in the back side of this, but it does show that by the afternoon we're going to have much drier air at least west of I-77, and then eventually all of us will see a downtrend in some of the rain before more starts to come back. A majority of the country dealing with some much cooler temperatures than normal, but nothing beats us. Nothing is this far off, or the departure from the average compared to where we are here in the Carolinas, just because of this unique setup. This is really specific to the Carolinas, where it's about 20 to 25 degrees cooler than where it should be. So here's a closer look at our futurecast. We really start to see this expand or start to decrease as we work way into the afternoon. So it's really any time between about noon to 2 that we're going to see a downtrend for some of that rain west of I-77. By the end of this, we could still have a secondary shower shower by the end of the afternoon. More rain possible on the backside of this, and then our rainfall chances will start to come up, still scattered to likely on your Thursday heading into Friday. And our severe weather chances, not really seeing anything today. I think you're thunderstorm free. Slightest chance that we have those thunderstorms to start to come back for tomorrow. And here I want to roll through this. Check it out. You see a better chance for maybe some rain by tomorrow morning, but we will see a redeveloping thunderstorm chance by late afternoon tomorrow. There it is, right around 7 o'clock, closer to Spartanburg. But it's Thursday that's really starting to change, that it's not as widespread as what we had today, but you will have a much better chance for showers and storms heading into your Thursday evening, which will continue into your Friday as well. How much rain could you see by the end of this event? Really 1 to 3 inches across the area, 1 to 2 today alone. I'll have your 7-day forecast to end our little stint here on WCNC Plus, but first we have to head over to Becca in the traffic department to see what's going on this very active morning. Not looking good.
Not looking good out there, especially from this live view. This is I-77 over towards the Lake Norman area alongside that Iredell-Mecklenburg County line. And it is wet out there. Definitely want to take it slow and easy if you're headed out early. Do want to let you know of this new crash over towards East Charlotte, impacting one lane of traffic on inbound Independence Boulevard at Eastway Drive, and it is currently the left lane that is blocked there. Also have another interstate crash over towards Gaston County. This is impacting I-85 northbound at Cox Road, still blocking one lane of traffic. Also still monitoring this active crash being reported at northbound Tryon Street at 16th Street, potentially involving a school bus, and that right lane is currently blocked off. Updated look at drive times now from Matthews to Uptown, 34 minutes, Salisbury 55, Waxhaw 39, and Belmont 24. Back to you guys.
It's time for our Tuesday Tailwagger. Good morning with our friends over at Animal Care and Control. And we last week featured the big guy by the name of Snubble. Snubble he's been snubbed, at least temporarily. He is still there. Another big guy is today's Tailwagger. His name is Tiber. Check out that face. This is a great dog. He's about 2 years old, weighs somewhere from about 55 to 60 pounds. Gets along with other dogs, crate trained, house trained, just a big lap dog, and loves his toys. How can you turn down that face right there? His name is Tiber. He's available today. Make an appointment by calling 704-336-7600. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday and Sunday, both days, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Once again, this is Tiber. He weighs about 55 to 60 pounds. He's 2 years old, and he is just a great dog. He is our very special Tuesday Tailwagger. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
Looks good. Thank you, Larry. Well, check this out. The newest employees at Children's National Hospital in Washington, D.C. have 4 paws and a knack for healing hearts.
NBC's Erica Gonzalez introduces us to one furry friend who's been working 40 hours a week, all to help kids on the road to recovery.
9-year-old Charlotte Steinbeiser broke her arm playing soccer last year and says rehabbing an injury is a lot more fun with a furry friend by your side.
I got to play fetch with him.
That game of fetch is actually part of the physical therapy program at Children's National Hospital, and Tux, the black lab, is employed to help. I said that right. Employed, badge and all. Tux, Hampton, Montana, and company are working 9 to 5, as the song goes, helping treat young patients.
Pediatric hospitals have figured it out really quickly.
Yeah, let's go. Good job, buddy.
Allison Proctor is one of the handlers and oversees the program, which was bred through the pandemic when only essential employees were allowed inside the hospital.
Patience and that ability to kind of self-soothe is something really important for our facility dogs.
Unlike therapy dogs, facility dogs are paired with licensed professionals, not volunteers, which means they're part of the staff. They're goal-oriented, treat motivated, and have had 2 years of special training to work in different departments.
Dogs assist in physical therapy appointments, so whether that's a game of fetch to try to get range of motion increases or an obstacle course to help, with balance. We do a lot of grounding exercises, so kids who might have anxiety on an upcoming procedure, we do medical play. So our child life specialists will grab a doctor's stethoscope and a bandage, and they will use the dog as the patient, and then the patient gets to practice what is about to happen to them.
Making the rounds isn't easy. In fact, it's a rough job. Like you and me, the dogs take a lunch break to recharge.
He loves what he does.
And believe it or not, just like you, they too are eyeing retirement.
He has been here since 2020, and I'm starting to have that conversation with myself and my leadership about, okay, at what age do we start talking about maybe going to part-time?
Do you have a work from home policy?
He's like, we are developing one.
But until that day comes,
it does help me a lot.
Kids like Charlotte know the doctor is in.
That was Erica Gonzalez with that report. Well, we are going to take a quick break, but make sure you stay with us here on WCNC Plus. We'll have another update on weather and traffic coming up in just 2 minutes. And then at the top of the hour at 9 o'clock, our own Jane Monreal is going to take over from our live Impact News studio. She's going to be speaking with a cardiologist about preventing heart disease. Of course, all the live breaking events as they happen from our area and across the nation here on WCNC Plus.
This will be the coldest part of the day, it looks like. 56 degrees for the last few hours. We hit 61 right around midnight, and then we're stuck in the upper 50s for the foreseeable future. Check out all that rain here on the map. Starting to break up in the mountains, but it's really not until later in the afternoon that we have a significant break around the Charlotte area. So I think it's really between about 2 and 4 that we have a nice little lull. Could come as early as noon, but the afternoon far less rain than what we have earlier this morning. And our Guy Roofing 7-day forecast shows that we're up from here. Slight chance for rain overnight tonight and to start off tomorrow, but then we're back either side of 80 degrees with growing shower and storm chances Thursday and Friday. Becca, it has been a wicked morning. What's going on right now?
That's right. Well, rush hour traffic is coming to an end. Want to give you an update, though. This just came into my inbox. This is a live look outside from I-85 at I-77. There is a report of a crash on the ramp from I-85 northbound to 77. Right now, it does not look like it's having a huge impact on traffic, but do be aware of that. Want to also let you know that this crash has cleared inbound Independence Boulevard at Eastway Drive. You won't have to worry about that for that morning drive.